Perfect. Welcome, everyone. I am super excited for today's call. What is today? May 29th. A couple days left of, it's the 29th. A couple days left of the month. Make sure that you guys are locking in SC10. If you hit it last month, SC10 this month to be able to go to the Success Club party at Summit, which we're super excited about. So, don't quit now, right? Like, you still have a couple days, so keep pushing. Get your team to get going. It's amazing what happens when you have a couple days and you really push yourself. So end the month strong. But today we have a super special guest, Kinslee Isaman. I think I always say your last name wrong.
It's Isaman, but that was really
Isaman. If I say it fast, Isaman. What is it?
It's Isaman.
Isaman. Okay, perfect. Well, we have Kinslee with us. She's a 4-star diamond out of Washington, and she is incredible. She has so much momentum this year, doing all the things. Her elite points are out of the roof. So, Kinslee, why don't you kind of start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got started with Beachbody, and then where you're at today.
Okay, sounds good. So excited to be here. So yeah, my name's Kinslee. I've been coaching since March of 2017. So a little over 2 years now. And when I first got started, my sister was actually the one that got me started, and she had asked me like multiple times about Beachbody and about coaching. And I was like a super skeptic and was really against it. Like, every time I was just like shot her down, like, don't even talk to me about it. Because at the time I was a super busy teacher. I was teaching elementary school, and I was in my second like full year of teaching, and I was in kindergarten, which kindergarten is just like a whole nother world, and I love them, but it was crazy. And on top of teaching full time, I was also tutoring after school, and I was coaching soccer after school, and I had like a crazy hour-and-a-half long commute because of where I was living. And so I just had like so much on my plate already, and I literally didn't think that coaching would ever be something that I would be interested in. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that as well, just being super, like, I don't know, skeptical of it all, you know? So when Elisa, my sister, asked me about coaching, I was like, no way in heck, like, I don't have time. That's not something that I'm interested in. And she kept asking me. And it's crazy because there was a specific day where, you know, she had asked me multiple times. I had said no. Like, I used to play soccer like growing up and all through college. And so to me, like, at home workouts, I was like, yeah, right, they probably don't work and I don't need this. And I struggle with IBS. So I was having a lot of digestive issues as well. And she was like, I think the shakes could help your stomach. And I was like, no way. Again, like, I've gone to see all the doctors. I'm on like multiple different medications. Like, I don't know why a shake would help me. And so, oops, sorry, I have like notifications beeping, but so it's crazy because on this specific day, I had been thinking about it for months, but I hadn't said anything to my sister, and she was coming over to my house, and that day I was literally thinking, like, I need to just talk to her about it again. Like, I've been thinking about this. I don't really want to because, again, I'm like so skeptical of all of it, but I should just say something when she comes over. And I guess on her way over, she was thinking in her car, like, I know I've asked Kinslee like a million times, but I'm just going to ask her one more time today. And so like she got there and we just started talking, and like, honestly, it turned into like this ball fest. And we were just like, let's change the world together and build an empire and like impact lives and just teach others how to be brave and like empower women to dream bigger. Cause my sister has like a crazy backstory too, but I had never thought that there was anything other than teaching, because that was my path. Like, that's what I went to school for. That's what I thought I was going to be, you know, ever since I was in 3rd grade. So having this other opportunity open up was just like so mind-boggling to me at first. But just like allowing ourselves to dream bigger and then be able to pay that forward has just been incredible. And like, it's crazy to look at how far our team has come in a little over 2 years. My sister's now been doing it for 3 years, but just the ripple effect that, you know, helping one person get started who can help one person, it's crazy. And I know that you guys know that too, because you've started to see that, but it just blows my mind how if you stick with this and if you keep going, like, the limit does not exist on like the impact that you can make. And all the things. I don't know. Was that a good enough backstory?
Yeah, that was great. I'm writing down that the limit does not exist.
That is a Mean Girls quote, so don't quote me on that.
Well, it's still so good though, because it's right. It's true with this business too. Okay, guys. What questions do you have? Take yourselves off mute. You can write them in the chat.
Yeah, ask all the questions.
Like always takes a minute for everyone to get started. Okay, well, I have a question. I'll start the questions. Okay, so I do have the privilege of seeing the elite report. And like I said, you were just crushing it this year. So what is your strategy of getting people in, getting people started, and hitting Success Club? Like even month after month too.
Yeah. So my strategy and what I've always tried to focus on is just keeping things like as simple as possible. And I know that we hear that like over and over again, but I feel like I've gone through stages in my business where I've tried to have like all the trainings and using all the trainings for my upline and things like that. But what I've found to be the most successful is like literally just telling people, like speaking that belief into them right out of the gates. I think that's so, so important. Because a lot of people, you know, if they come in, even if they're interested in coaching, they're not necessarily going to think that they can like hit the first rank of Emerald. Like that sounds scary at first, you know, to people, but really just speaking that belief into them that like, girl, you can do this. And like, it's actually super, super simple for you to get to that first milestone of Emerald. That just means helping a couple friends join us in our next boot camp. So I know a lot of coaches and teams do this too, but like I allow my new coaches to have their people join our boot camp for the first month or so before, you know, encouraging them to run their own groups. But really just like stressing the importance of getting to Emerald ASAP. Like you can get to Emerald in 24 hours, but definitely you can get to Emerald in a week by the next, you know, end of Beachbody week, and hitting Success Club, because all that is helping one more person after you go Emerald. And how cool to like get to, and like really just talking about the benefits of going to Emerald right away. Like not only are you going to get a public shout out, but you're going to make $100 right off the bat. When you add one more person, that's going to be $150. Like how crazy that you can make $150 for helping 3 of your friends and family members get started. And really just talking to them about that, but keeping it super simple. Like, again, I don't have people really like, I have them watch simple training videos, but like, it's really just them like go Emerald, hit SC right off the bat, and just telling them how simple that is. Because again, I think that as humans, like we build up everything in our heads. So people build up Emerald, people build up Diamond, but it's like if we can show our team like right out of the gates that it truly is just helping others get started, which is awesome. And like talking about what we're actually doing, I feel like people, you know, latch onto that really quickly too, because it's like I didn't understand when I first started that like I could make money helping people in this capacity. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of blew my mind. So yeah, keeping it simple is like my short answer to that. And then let's see, I see another question in the chat. How do you help people get to Diamond and get your team to push together? That's a really good question. And so for Diamond, again, right now I'm 4-star in my first business center, and we're actually in 3-star qual in my second business center. And so I have helped, and last year at Summit, I was a Diamond. So like our team's made like massive, massive moves. But I think that one of the things that has helped a ton is getting your team to push together and making it a team like environment and a team push. And so number one, I think that again, like keeping it simple and actually breaking down what Diamond is, which is just going Emerald over and over again and helping 2 people go Emerald. Like that, I think in people's brain is a lot easier to digest than, you know, you need 8 people and 2 of them have to want to build a business. It's like, no, they don't necessarily have to want to build a business. They just want to have to help a couple friends and family members get started as well. But it's like breaking down Diamond, not making it scary, because I know when I went Diamond, it took me forever to go Diamond because I felt like it was scary, and I felt like it took people 9 months to go diamond. So in my head, I was like, okay, it's going to take me 9 months to a year. But if we change that mindset to actually you can go diamond in 30 days, then all of a sudden people expect to go diamond quicker. So even if it's not 30 days, it's probably going to be faster than 9 months or a year, just because they have that expectation and they see other people doing that. And so getting your team to push together, I really just feel like that is having a clear vision for yourself and your business and sharing that vision. Not only sharing that vision with your team, like in your team page and in message pods, like if you have a group of girls who want to push, like if you like share your vision in your team page, right? Like go live, talk about where you want this team to go, like how much you believe in them. Take the people who are on board, put them in a message pod and start, talking to them in there and building them up and sharing strategies and sharing screenshots of what you're doing and hopping on Zoom calls and doing work sessions and like all those things, because that's going to get the needle moving forward. But also I wanted to note, like, I think that a game changer for my business too, and even for my team, which this is interesting because it's like disconnected, but I think it's connected, is sharing your vision publicly more. So like I started sharing right when I think before I went diamond that like our team was going to blow it up and we were going to change all these lives. And like, I really truly believe that, but I was sharing that with such like passion and like people believed it before it actually happened, So I think that it's really, really important for you to believe in your vision, for you to have a clear vision written down, and then to make sure that you're sharing that not only with your team, but publicly, because publicly too, that's going to attract like your boot campers or your challengers. Like they're the ones that are watching you the closest. So they're going to be seeing all of those posts, right? And that they're going to, be able to see themselves in your story and potentially want to build if they see you sharing that consistently. And then also it's going to attract more business building mindseted people as well if you continue to share that. And I think that I definitely started sharing that a lot more. And then I started to get more people coming in who were like, I want to join the boot camp, but also maybe coach down the road. And I see that more and more now, the more that I share about it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I do think that just getting people, together in a pod and really like making it a team effort, like we're fingers crossed going to be 5-star qual tomorrow. And that has been like a team effort of like just blowing up the message pod of like shouting people out for like signing up a coach or, hitting SC and, share your strategy. What are you doing? Like empowering your leaders and your upcoming leaders too, I think is so huge, because sometimes people or all of us like don't see ourselves as a leader until we're like thrown into that situation. So I try to make sure that I'm always encouraging my leaders to share what they're doing rather than just always sharing what I'm doing, because then it feels like I'm like preaching. But that reminds me of like when I was a teacher, instead of always teaching, I would have like one kid who's got it, explain it to the class, because that's going to help that person believe in what they're doing and have it down even more. But it's also like people are going to listen to them more because they've already heard my voice like over and over and over again. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer to that. And then let's see, I see another question that says, where are you finding your working coaches? I find my working coaches 100%, okay, I won't say 100%, 95% from my boot camps. And so the reason for that is because I have had coaches come in that rock it too that aren't from my boot camps, but I found that like people who are more likely to be here long-term are the ones who have already fallen in love with the programs, with the products, with the community, without coaching, without money, without ranks, accolades, without any of that connected. And I think that they're going to have such a deeper rooted why than just like, I want to build a business. Because it's like in this day and age, you can build a business with anything, like selling literally anything. But what we have to offer is like so different and so life-changing that it's like, I want them to experience that. I want them to get their own results and, already be diving into PD before they start coaching. So I normally basically like I'll pull the report in my challenge tracker portal and see like who's logged the majority of their workouts and shakes. And I'll reach out to them on like a week before the group ends. And anyone who's like a rock star boot camper, I will reach out to them and see if they're interested in building, and just say something super simple of like, hey girl, you've totally been slaying it in the group. Like, you would make an amazing coach because of blank. And have you ever thought about it? Like, just super simple. And again, a lot of times people are like, yeah, I kind of have, but I'm super busy. And then I can voice message them back and be like, dude, I was so busy when I started too. Like, I totally get that, but you actually can make this work in the cracks of your day. What do you think about just, giving it a shot and talking about it, And so even just, I think, putting that bug in people's ear, even if they're not ready to jump on board right away, like, I'm also acknowledging the fact that it took me like 9 months of my sister asking me for me to be on board. But asking them means that, again, they're going to be watching my stories on Instagram. They're going to be watching my posts that much closer because I just asked them and spoke a tiny bit of belief into them. So I think that it's really important to reach out to those rockstar boot campers that you think would make amazing coaches, because most people don't think they can do it until someone tells them they can, because it is still so unconventional, like the fact that I'm doing this full time just seems so weird to me. Like, I never would have thought that 2+ years ago.
So okay, I have a question. So how are you recruiting to your boot camp then? Like, what's your social media strategy, invite process, your call to action? Like, how are you hitting Success Club and bringing more people into that funnel?
Yeah, good question. So on social media, I wish I had like a clear strategy. I feel like I do. Okay, let me think about this for a second. So I don't know. I feel like I use like energy and enthusiasm as like my biggest thing. Like, I try to just pump up my boot camps because like they are really fun. So I talk about them daily. I think that one strategy that's helped me a lot, like, I absolutely love Instagram stories. I think they're just like so fun to use, and I have a lot of fun using them. So I think that Instagram stories, like, if you're not using them yet, 100% you need to be. But talking about, like, I don't know, basically just sharing like as much as you can about what's going on in the boot camp, because basically like what Instagram stories gives us is a sneak peek into what we're doing. And that's like such an awesome tool that we have, and it's so easy to utilize. So, I'll share results from people. I'll share messages that I'm getting. I'll share, a screenshot of like me checking in. I'll share the group thread of other people checking in, just kind of giving people little tiny tidbits of like what it is that we do in there. Because that way, when I invite someone, because my inviting process is basically anyone who's watching my stories, liking my posts, they're going to get an invite from me. And it's not a cold invite in my opinion, because they're watching my stories or liking my posts. And so because I'm sharing so much about the boot camps on a regular basis, when I invite them, it's not out of the blue. They're like, oh, I know what you're doing. I saw you check in this morning. I saw you do your workout. I saw that girl, comment when I'm sharing those things. So I think that, people are at least intrigued when I invite them because they've already seen so much of what's going on. Did that answer all of that?
Yeah. So you build credibility. Like, that's what you're doing all the time, is building credibility. Like, look what my boot camps look like. This is what I provide you, like the sneak peek, which I love. So what are your invites looking like then? So do you invite people who watch your story? Did I miss that? Did you invite people that watch your stories? Do you reach out to people and say, come invite me? Or is it more just call to actions?
I'll do kind of both. So will like post on my story too of, when a new boot camp is coming up, what that's going to look like. Sometimes I'll be talking to the camera, talking about what the boot camp's going to look like. Sometimes it'll be, like a Canva image, talking about everything you'll be getting and all that stuff. And, sometimes I'll use polls because I like, having that engagement factor. And that's like a super easy way for people to vote that they're interested and not have to go out of their way to message you. It's like a little bit easier access. So I'll use polls and call to actions that way. But I would say that the majority of my people come from me personally inviting someone. And so I'm inviting, again, anyone that's watching my stories, anyone who's liking my posts. And I mean, I have a lot of people who will just ghost that first invite, but to me, that's just a not right now. So I'm going to definitely circle back, comment on their story if they're posting a story to keep that connection. And I'm definitely going to invite them, the next month or a couple months later, because again, like, think about your invites too as like just putting the bug in their ear. And when they see that invite, they're going to be watching you more closely. So then if you invite them again, maybe that's going to be a better time for them rather than when you first invited them.
Oh, I love it. Perfect. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
How do you, I love your perspective on inviting people from people who have been watching your stories. Cause I have like the same, 40 people who watch my stories and I'm always like, oh, I shouldn't say anything, but I love that. Now I feel free to do that. How do you keep up with the people? I guess, what's your system? Are you using a system or is it like your own brain? Is it sticky notes? What is it?
Definitely not my own brain. I would go crazy. But my system that I use that works the best for me, which I think it's so important to find what works best for you. And some people that is writing it down. For me, I have too many papers all over anyways, and it's like my teacher brain, it has to be more organized. So I use Google Streak, and the way that I track is I will invite, let's say, 10 or 20 people, and then everyone who responds to that and says what is a boot camp? Can I have more details? Not right now, but maybe later. Anyone who responds, I will flag in my Instagram inbox. And at the end of the day, as one of my 10-minute blocks, I will just import everyone who responded to that message into my Google Streaks. And so then they're on my radar. And that'll be interested in June or interested in July, whatever the next group is. And then I unflag them so that I don't have 1,000,001 flag messages in my inbox. But basically that just again, they've responded. So we've initiated that connection at that point. So that's when they're going to go in my tracking system. For everyone else who ghosts, again, they're not out of my mind, but they're more so I know they're there if they're continuing to watch my stories. And if it's if I invite someone and then they unfollow me and they quit watching my stories, I'm not going to follow up with them because they clearly didn't vibe with me, or maybe they already have a coach or whatever. But I want to be, putting my time and energy into the people who are still watching me. And it's if people are watching you, they are interested in what you're doing. Otherwise they wouldn't be watching you, or they would unfollow you. And it's that's not even offensive to me anymore. Cause I'm just it's probably my awkward dance moves. You're just who is this chick? But so yeah, I flag and then put into Google Streak.
So what you're saying is the people that ghost you, you naturally will follow up just by the nature of them continue to watch your stories. Is that right?
Yeah. So if I see, let's say I invite someone and then a few days later, I'm looking through my list of who's watched my story that day, or it would probably be a few weeks later or whatever. And I notice that they're still watching my stories. Then I would say something again and maybe be hey, I know, a couple months ago probably wasn't a good time for you, but I just want to let you know I was still thinking about you. Or again, if they have stories, just commenting an emoji on their story or whatever, just kind of rebuilding that. Because I found too that it's I feel we create a story of why people don't respond to us. And that's dumb because we have no idea why someone ghosts you. It could be that they were walking out their door and they had 12 babies. That's a lot of babies, probably not 12. But they had all their kids and they opened the message and then they forgot about it. Or maybe they opened it right before going to bed, or maybe they read it and were oh, I'm going to talk to my husband about that. And then forgot. They're not thinking about us all the time, even though we might think they are. And so it's our job to follow up with them if they're still watching us. Okay, I see another question. Do you import them from Instagram to Streak just one by one? Any issues with IG flagging? Mine get weird and lost. Yeah, so before I started importing them into Streak, I was getting a lot of mine lost, which is sad, because if you flag too many in IG, it's just like too much for the system to handle. So it'll lose some of them. So that's why I think it's really important. And that's why I started importing them every single night and just building that into a habit, because I don't want to lose them and I want to get them over and then unflag them as soon as possible, so that, the next morning I have 0 flagged people and it's kind of like starting fresh every day.
I have a question. So when you said like you would put someone in your boot camp who said like, yeah, I want to join your boot camp and maybe I'll be interested in coaching later, would you enroll them as a customer or a coach?
So that depends what stage of my business I was in, I would say. So like when I was building to Diamond, I was enrolling a lot of discount coaches because I had no one who was interested in building yet. And at the time so at that point it was kind of like discount coaches. Now I'm in the stage of my business, unless I'm like building, like when I was building my second CBC, again, I was signing up a lot of discount coaches to get that account to Diamond. But generally speaking, I'm signing up people as customers to get into the boot camp. And then it's once they say, if they say like, I'm not interested now, but I might be later, that's when I would say like, okay, awesome. Let's just get you the discount now. Because what's cool about that is it's like, then once they're a coach, so like getting them switched over for the discount is what they think it's for. But then I would follow up and say something like, hey girl, I know you're not interested in building a business right now. I totally get that. You have a ton on your plate, but have you talked to any of your friends or family members to see if like a couple of them want to join us? I think it would be so fun, and it would add extra accountability to you in your journey if you had a couple people that you know in real life who did this with you. What do you think? And that way they might go reach out to a couple friends and accidentally build to at least Emerald to start. So that's kind of my strategy there.
And how would you tell them to sign up people? Like, how do you teach them to do a share cart, or what do you do for that? Because like, obviously you're not going to send them your whole training.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is like the most effective, but I normally just voice message them really fast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so easy to sign them up. You're just going to go to share cart, enter in all of their information, click on challenge packs and pick the one that you did, the $160 bundle. It's like share cart makes it so easy for us because it's so self-explanatory that to me, at least like my experience is as long as I get people to share cart, they can figure out the rest from there and like ask me their questions if they have it. But I do feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. So I just voice message them. Any other questions?
I had one more. You were talking about your like thread of like builders that you have. Like, is that where you do like primarily all your like mentorship of like people who are building, or do you have like a separate page for them, or do you like text them, or do you do one-on-ones or like diamond pushes?
Yeah. So me and my sister run our team page together. And so we have like our Made for Brave team page, and that is every, coach, so discount coach or builder. And then we have a separate Brave Builders group, which is our business building group that once you watch the training videos, you get put into. And so we'll share strategies there. We'll share calls, like we'll hop on calls with people. We'll have our builders share what they're doing and screenshots, and we'll do little like giveaways, like monthly giveaways for SC. We did that last month and it worked really well. We had a lot of girls hit SC just because we gave away like as a team, basically like if we got, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like 100 SC points. Everyone who hit SC gets a $5 Starbucks gift card. And if we hit 200 SC points as a team, then everyone gets like a Starbucks gift card and a cute little bag that we found on Amazon. And then if we hit 500 SC points as a team, then it's going to be a tank top and the other kind of like a tier thing. And giveaways like that, I think just are fun. I don't do them every month because I don't think it's like a good return of investment always. But it's fun just to get the ball rolling and get the momentum and everything. So Made for Brave page, Brave Builders, and then the message pods. I normally set up like one for like my newer coaches to kind of chat with them. I'll set one up for like my newer emeralds, and then I have one for my diamonds. And that's something that I actually started doing recently. But I think that, yeah, just like hopping on calls, like I don't do a lot of one-on-ones right now. I more prefer doing like groups. So again, like a new coach call, and all the new coaches can come on, talk about all their objections, talk about what they're excited about, why they're here, who they want to help. Talking to the emeralds about going emerald again and their next steps, and again, revisiting their whys and things like that. And then the diamonds is going to be a little higher level and talking about how together, like, we can solidify our diamonds, like lock in elite for our team. But also, like, I have a lot of diamonds on my team now who are pushing for premier themselves or pushing for elite this year. And I think that a lot of that is because we've hopped on these calls together. And like one person, I'm like, share your goals. And one person's like, well, you're going to elite. Like, I want to go elite. And then someone else is like, I want to push for that too. And I'm like, this is great. Yes, let's all push together. So I do think that community piece and that like camaraderie is so big too. Cause I think often too, like, people see you, the leader, doing all the things, and they all of a sudden like are like, well, that's them. And of course they can do that, and that's their thing. But it's not until other leaders on your team start to make moves that they are like, okay, wait, but Kinslee did it, but also so did her. And like, if they can all go diamond, then like I can go diamond. And like, if they can go 1 star, then like I can do that. And so I think that it's really beneficial to get your leaders on a call to like empower each other and to really like build that up. I see another question. Do your leaders, diamonds, go in on the gifts for your team with you? That one I do like encourage them to do like separate incentives for their coaches, or
Oh no, we're losing you.
most of the time it's like me and Elisa.
Oh, sorry, we lost you for a minute. Will you start that over?
Yeah, so for the gifts for our team, if it's something that like me and Elisa come up with, then we'll just take it. And like anyone who's in like my direct downline, I'll do, and anyone who's in Elisa's direct downline, she'll cover. But there are times where like I'll reach out to my diamonds and see if they want to do a push or incentive together. It kind of just depends like who I'm talking to about it, if that makes sense.
Gal, this has been so great. Any last questions? Do we have anything? Okay. Well, thank you, Kinslee. This was I seriously took a page of notes. So I appreciate it so much for being here. Thank you so much, everyone else. I'll see you next week.
Of course.
Bye-bye.